The next ethical issue that arises in engineering profession is ethical dilemma. Okay, now what is mean by ethical dilemma? It is a very simple concept, and it is also a very common thing that occurs in any profession. So it refers to a situation in which decision involves conflicts between two or more moral principles. Okay, so here what is happening, clearly understand that here again there is conflict. Obviously then issue will occur. So there is a conflict, but the conflict is between two or more moral principles. So we will take an example, and only that example we will understand what is meant by ethical dilemma. So let us assume that you have been transferred as an engineer to some other organization, and you have joined that organization in between a project. That is, a project has been executing, is in execution for last 6 months, and it will remain in execution for the next 1 year. Okay, so you have been given authority for that project. Your responsibility is to properly execute that project. Okay, now you have been transferred, so you were not part of that project from the beginning, from the start. You have joined in the middle. Now when you have joined and you were managing that project, you came to know that the project is going as per the schedule and there is no problem as such. But one thing that has occurred in the past is that one of the supplier of the material in the project, that supplier has been given contract by unethical means. That is, there was some collusion between your previous senior and the supplier, and through that illegal unethical collusion the supplier has got the contract. Okay, but you have observed that the quality of the material that he is supplying is good and the project is occurring at the pace. So here occurs the ethical dilemma. What is the ethical dilemma? There are two things, or I can say that I have to take decision. That is, I have to decide whether to stop that supplier contract or should continue that supplier contract. This is the issue. Okay, so first of all you have to understand the issue, or you have to understand what are the choices I have to take the decision. So there are, we can say broadly, two choices. The first choice is to continue the contract of that supplier, and the second choice is to null and void or simply stop the contract of that supplier. Okay, now here occurs the moral ethical dilemma, and here occurs the role of moral principles. Okay, if I take the first choice, that is, if I continue with that supplier, so why I am continuing? I am continuing because the project is going on at a good pace, and if I stop the contract, then material supply will stop and obviously my project will become halt. Okay, so project will stop. So here what is happening, if I am deciding to continue with the supplier, I am focusing on the end result. I am focusing on the end result, that is, the project should occur at the scheduled time. Okay, but here my means are not ethical. My means are not ethical. Why? Because the supplier who is supplying the material, he has done some unethical conduct. So I have information that there is some unethicality, even though I am deciding to continue with that supplier. Why? Because I am giving more preference to the ends, that is the final project outcome, than as compared to the means, that is the unethical supplier. Okay, so this is the principle which relates to the end result, that is the consequences. Okay, I am more concerned with the consequence than with the means, my action. Okay, But there is another choice. What is another choice? That I immediately stop the contract of that supplier. So here I am following the principle of means, that is, my action must be justified. If my means are ethical, only then my project or my ends will be ethical. So the problem with this decision will be that my project will stop, and if my project stop, then there will be higher cost for the project. Obviously there will be delay, and if there is delay there will be penalty and so on. So if I am deciding to stop the contract, I am focusing on the means. I am focusing that my all activities, my all small suppliers, they all must be ethical. So here I am focusing on the means to be ethical, and because of that my ends, the project outcome is suffering, it is delaying. So here there are two principles which are in conflict. The first principle is of non consequentialism. Consequentialism, that is, the means justify the ends. So whatever are your means, whether ethical or unethical, if your ends are ethical, then means will justify them. That is when I am continuing that supplier. And the another moral principle is of non consequentialism, that is deontological ethics. That is, my means must be ethical, only then my end result will be ethical. And this principle is behind the second choice of decision, that is stopping that supply. So this is called as ethical dilemma, and it is also a very common ethical issue that arises in engineering profession. Okay, so I hope you have clearly understood that this third ethical issue. Thank you.